When most people hear insider trading, they think corruption. But when I hear it, I smell opportunity. My name is Ross Gibbons, and I've been tracking insider trades for more than a decade. In fact, I run a service called the Insider Effect, where we alert members to these stocks that are being bought heavily by insiders. And we have beaten the market every single year since 2017. So today, I just thought I'd show you what we do. I'll also give you a sneak peek of the new insider scanning software I've been working on. It's going to get released to the public very, very soon. Now, you see, when corporate insiders are buying their own stock, so when CEOs, CFOs, and the like are putting their own money into their own company at market prices, they've got an enormous advantage because they know what the earnings are going to be. They know when they're in talks for mergers or buyouts. They know the results of drug trials and government contracts and all sorts of other market-moving information. So it stands to reason that if they, with this massive informational advantage, are putting their own money, especially a significant amount of their own money, into their stock, they are doing so with a high degree of confidence that it is a good time to invest, either because the stock is too cheap based on what they believe the company is going to do going forward, or because there could be some big market-moving piece of news about to go public. So let me just give you a quick example. Now, this is a stock. We issued this alert to our members 3 weeks ago on ALMX, ticker ALMX. And now I'm going to show you why we bought this. I'm going to show you how to find these stocks as well. I'm even going to show you one that is seeing heavy insider buying right now. But let's get into how this works, okay? So we put this buy out, you can see November 21st of this year. And as of today, as of this recording, the stock's about 65%. So, a nice little gain there in about 3 weeks. Now, we've had bigger ones. We've also had some that don't work out. So do not think this is bulletproof. Don't think you're going to win 100% of the time or anything. But when you get it right, the moves can be really big. So as you see here, this was a biotechnology company and a clinical stage one. So in other words, you've got this little pharmaceutical or biopharmaceutical stock with no drugs in the market, no money coming in. They're just spending all this money trying to develop drugs and run trials. And so these little stocks tend to either win big or fail big. If drug trial results come out and they're good, the stock could surge. They could have a drug that's going to get FDA approval, make them hundreds of millions of dollars. If those drug trial results come out and they didn't show good, they didn't prove efficacy, well, then these guys might have just wasted $20 million, have nothing to show for it, and be on a fast track to bankruptcy. So these are volatile little suckers, not the kind of thing I would buy without some kind of information. So our research goes a little deeper than you need to. We dug through all this. But this is what caught our attention were these three big insider buys back in November. So on the 13th, you see 1.4 million. The guy comes back on the 19th, buys 1.5 million. And the same day, this James Tannenbaum guy, 10% owner and director, goes in for 3 million. Now, this one's a little bit different. I prefer to buy stocks when I see top executives buying. So the CEO, the CFO, the chief medical officer, right? In-house counsel, those kind of guys. These institutional grades we don't normally favor, but I made an exception for this because these guys have such amazing investing pedigrees. They've been early investors in this firm. Director Tannenbaum here is the founder of Foresight Capital. It's a venture capital firm that specializes in this space, and they've had some big wins in 10x Genomics and Denali, et cetera. But anyway, we laid this out, but you can see here on the chart. So it wasn't they're getting in front of earnings, right? They don't really have earnings. It's a pre-profit company. But earnings came out a few days ago, so that was out of the way. And then we saw a couple of insiders buying. Now, usually 2 times they're going to buy. Either you'll see insiders buying after a stock is very depressed. So they had a bad earnings report or they're heading the wrong direction, a stock down 50, 60, 70, 80%. They're on the inside. They believe they're going to do very well going forward. And it's a great time to buy, so just pick it up off the lows. The other time, and ones that tend to be more fun, are when you see insiders buying into new highs. And I don't know if you can zoom in on this chart, if you can see it on the chart. Let me pull up a stock chart so you can see what was happening here. And I'll scoot this over so you can see it. So the insiders were buying. And what were those dates again? Let's just take a look. The 13th and the 19th. Okay, so they were buying right here on this day, and they bought right over here before the run up. So at the time when they bought this stock, they weren't getting in on the cheap. I mean, it had just gone from 4 to 7. They were buying right up in here. So the stock is in the middle of a big run. So you got to ask, why would they be buying into the highs unless they think it's going a lot higher? So these can be very fruitful. You get in right on a powerful trend and they run. So this was the Arresti alert. I won't bore you with all the details. Again, we take the research a little further than we need to, but again, we did our homework, we did our due diligence, ran through what's going on at this company, showed the technical picture, all that kind of stuff, and here is the alert. Buy a Loomis at the market, place a sell stop at 570. So we're just 18%. That's a little on the higher side, but again, as a fast-moving biotech stock, these you got to give a little bit more room. I prefer to keep it in that kind of 10 to 15% range. And then the option we picked was the $7.50 call. It was a dollar or two. That thing's up, I don't know, 200-300% now. But anyway, this can get you into some really big movers when you get it right, and they are, in fact, trying to take advantage of some piece of market-moving information. You could see a Loomis here. We bought it over here at, I don't know, $7, 7 and change, something like that. It's only been a couple of weeks, and it's already up. It was pushing against $12 a share this morning. So how do you find this stuff? Now, I've been using a crude-looking scanner I had coded up years ago to do this, and I've always wanted to build a user-friendly scanner that everyone could use, and for the last several months, I've been doing just that. Now, I didn't program the thing. I have no idea how to code anything, but my company, Traders Agency, we spent a few bucks. We hired a programmer. This is currently in the final stages of testing. We're going to release it to some beta testers in the near term. So if there's something you want to get alerted to, just put your email address in here. The link is insiders, plural, IQ. InsiderIQ.com will notify you when it comes out. But I messaged the programmer earlier today, and he gave me a login to play with this. So I want to kind of show you how it works and what we look for. So once you log in, and again, some of this stuff is we're still kind of tweaking, so don't judge too hard on it yet. But the idea is we're combining both the ability to search for corporate insiders, CEOs, CFOs, etc., with political insiders like Pelosi and other cronies in Congress, and we're putting them all in one place. So it's going to show you recent political trades. It'll show you recent executive trades, and more importantly, we have built a scanner. And so what this allows you to do is filter a world of 8,000 or 9,000 stocks down to a couple dozen that meet your insider buying criteria. So, for example, if I want to go on here and say, all right, show me stocks I want to see buying in the last 30 days. You can look for corporate insiders, Congress, or both. I'm just going to look at regular insiders. And then I want to see more than one insider buying, right? So I'm going to set this at, say, 2. And then I also want to filter out, the guy who bought 10 shares for $600 as part of a 401k program or something. So I say, no, let's at least $500,000 of buying. Okay. And there's more things you can scan for. You could look at certain sectors, certain sizes of stocks, lots of functionality in here, share prices, et cetera. But I'm just going to make this nice and simple for our exam today. So going to hit run. And again, went pretty quick. And so this is going to give me a list of stocks where at least 2 corporate insiders have bought in the last 30 days for a total investment of $500,000 or more. And each one of these meets that criteria. Now, you can see a Loomis right here. So if we click on this, you see a bunch of insider buys. We can go in here and see the details of those. And we've got a chart here that's going to mark, look, the scale's off. See, I told you it's not quite ready. But look at these little marks here. So the green dot, it's identifying where insiders have bought and sold in the past. And you can see, look at this activity. Let's see if I can zoom in any on this. But if you focus in right over here at the bottom, look at all those little green boxes. Look at all this insider buying. You can see they continued buying even after we sent the alert out. More buying, more buying, more buying. And so you want to find these clusters of insider buying where they're all piling in. We also want to find ones that are rare. So if you go back and look at the thing over, 5 years and you see it's only been bought 2 or 3 times and now 7, 8 of them bought in the last week, right? That's pretty significant. We want to see how much money they put in. Like this shows you the dollar volume of their buying, how many trades we saw. So you see this November bar here. I'll kind of hover over it. Now, again, we're looking at the last year or so. And there was a couple of buys here, a couple of buys here, and this big cluster of them in November, right, really stands out. And you can see all the details. of each one of those trades. So all I'm really doing is playing a big game of Clue. I'm using a lot of common sense, a couple of brain cells, and I'm trying to say, all right, what stands out to me? If it's insiders that normally buy 20, 30, 40 grand at a time, and now they're buying 400 grand, that's significant. If it's insiders only, rarely buy the stocks, these 2, 3, 4 buys in a year, then I get 8 of them in a week, that's significant. And so I'm just looking for those 2, 3, 4 opportunities every month where it seems like a really big no-brainer. And some of them don't work. Again, sometimes it's just a coincidence they were all buying. Now, it's usually not a bad time to buy the stock. Everybody who works there thinks it's a good time, but they're not bulletproof, right? There's risk in anything. But what I'm trying to do is just give myself the best chance at getting into a stock before some really big positive news comes out. And I'll show you another one. I'll be honest, I cheated and ran through this before I started this video, but there's another I spotted where we're seeing a lot of insider buying right now that actually looks pretty good to me. So let me see if I can find it here. The company is CELH, ticker CELH. And if you might see their energy drinks, it's that they claim negative calories, like you burn more calories, there it is, drinking it than you consume. But anyway, I'm not going to shill for the company. But here we go. So you see a couple of big insider trades took place right in here. A $200,000 purchase by the president and chief operations officer, a $450,000 purchase from this guy, Kravitz Hall, whoever he is. And again, we look back over the year, no one's bought. Now, this is likely they're buying because the stock was overly punished. Again, this is not the best chart. I'm going to have them improve that. But if we take a look at a chart of Celsius here, and this has been a Cinderella story if y'all haven't followed this stock. I mean, it was over here, like at $1 a share back in 2017, it went to 100. And it comes up, it comes down, it makes a big run. But now it's pulled back. So it's fallen from $68 a share down to about $45 a share. And we see this cluster of insider buying coming into the stock. And so we can actually take it a bit further. See, the dollar volume's not working on this. I promise it'll all work by the time we release this. Dollar volume's not working, but we can go down to these trades, okay, and here they are, and see the trading history of this person. And again, this is really, really important because if you pull a guy up who you saw him make a big trade and it looks like he buys every month or every quarter or the same time every year, you got to recognize it's a pattern. A lot of these guys have investment plans that say, put $50,000 in the first day of each quarter or December of each year or whatever it may be. So you want stuff that stands out. And this very much stands out to me because you can see there's sell. And this is not unusual. He's a founder of this company. He's got millions of dollars into this stock. So when it has big runs up or he needs to buy a vacation house, whatever it may be, they'll sell. But he hasn't bought since March of 2020. He also bought 10,000 shares. Look, they were $4 a piece, a much smaller trade. So this was not perfect, right? I mean, I really want a trade that massively stands out, but this is good. I can see that it's kind of rare buying from this person. We can take another look at Eric Hansen as well, see what his history looks like. So this appears to be his first trade. It's the only one in his transaction history. So we have a top executive. He's a first-time buyer. That's really, really good. And this other stuff's going to be populated when we get it done. I probably shouldn't have shown it yet. My programmer's going to be mad, but just wanted to see what's coming to you. Now, I'd take this a step further. I would honestly just Google this guy's name in Celsius Holdings and see when he got this position. Because if it turns out he was appointed last month, well, of course he's buying for the first time. If he was appointed 3 years ago and never thought it was a good time to buy, and now he's suddenly going in for a couple $100,000, that might be more significant, right? So again, it's just kind of like detective work. We're just putting the pieces together here to find opportunities that appear to be opportunistic. And there's a lot of other features in here. This is going to just give you a constant stream of insider trades, both by corporate executives as well as politicians. We can scan just for congressional folks to find stocks that the House or Senate's buying, stuff like that. Lots of ways to do it. But I just thought I'd kind of give you an inside look at what I do. There's a lot of, I didn't realize this, apparently there's a lot of mystery around this, and I try to explain it. It's really pretty straightforward. But again, we've had tremendous success since 2017, not because we get it right all the time, not because every stock an insider buys is going to double, but because you're putting yourself in a position to catch that one that goes up 50 or 100 or 500. We had one that went up 1,900%. And so you can take a lot of 10 and 12% losses if you get the occasional 1,000% gain, right? So that's a quick summary of insider trading. I'll try to put out some new stuff when I see it. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. That way you'll get notified of these. I also still have that YouTube special going on. There's a link below. It's $5 for the entire year if you want to join the Black Ops service. We can go into some of this in much greater detail during the live members-only sessions we do every Monday. So if you want to get on that, click it, ask me Monday morning, and we'll talk about that. But this, in a nutshell, is how to track insider activity.